I really hope that there's another Oscar nomination shortly in your future for playing Aretha Franklin in Respect, which is, I can't even imagine the sense of responsibility bringing that character, to the screen. And when did she become, because I know that there was, you had Aretha Franklin on the mind long before you started this project. When did you sort of discover Aretha Franklin? When did you start listening to her music? When did she become sort of a big force in your life?
I think she's always been there, even unconsciously so. But a lot of it didn't register to me just how much until while filming, where I grew up singing Amazing Grace in church, but I didn't realize the rendition we sang came from her Amazing Grace album, So it's like she's always been present. And then I'm a musician, so it's Aretha Franklin. If you're going to be a musician and you're taking music seriously, you gotta go past the school of Miss Franklin. So in that way, I've been familiar. But the challenge is the idea of playing her. That's when it's like, whoa, how do you look at that? How do you even approach that? And then a legacy of that magnitude, which changes the game completely, which I'm glad that I from the moment we originally met, which was 15 years ago, that we didn't film, or it wasn't ready at that time, because I can't say I would have been ready. It's a huge, to me, I think acting can be a huge mental process first, where you're trying to discover, okay, where do I sit in this? How do I embody this? Who am I embodying? How do I approach this? You know what I mean? So it's so many layers with that, and with someone like her.
I love that the movie is about Aretha and her, journey of finding her voice and finding her space within her own life and in the music industry and in her relationships. But I still, even though some of the stories we've heard just because they're so legendary, I still would get chills when it was the true musical moments that you were doing. Her sitting with her sisters and working out the arrangements of Respect, and those were the things that gave me chills. And I'm so curious about you stepping into those moments that are legendary stories, but you like bringing it to life, like working out the chords and the melody and the re of Respect. It's like, wow. So good.
Wow. Thank you. It's like, I think what was in the forefront of our minds in creating those things was acknowledging the musicianship, because this is a story about a musical icon who is more than just a singer. She is a musician, a composer, a writer, and highlighting those elements of her, which is why it was important to me to learn the piano as well, because I'm like, I can't say I've committed to this character as an actor without learning such a huge element of her to be able to help bring those things to life, because it changes the perspective. Like I always say, I'm a singer. I listen to the melody and the top line, but then I'm like, well, if I'm going to embody Aretha, she hears the music completely differently. It's completely different, where she is the music. So to understand that, I needed to understand the element of the piano. And then for us as at times, I'm like, are we singers or actors first in these scenes of the music moments? But it required us to be equipped in that way to be able to tell the story such as Aretha's, and then highlight, because a lot of times in films that it's music related, you don't get to see the making and the process of the musicianship. We can't miss that in telling her story, because that's the body of who she is, and it's important to be able to display that of her musicianship. So creating those scenes were done they were very organic from a musician perspective in those particular scenes.